You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James.
Movie Juice, Movie Juice, Movie Juice, Movie Juice.
Juice the movie.
Oh yeah. I went kind of low with that.
Yeah, I like
Mine was kind of high.
I went, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Postman.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Thank you.
So this week,
We saw Cuckoo.
Cuckoo. But the way the word is spelled, because I looked up the movie, and like actual like the word cuckoo is also spelled like that. So it's spelled like cuckoo.
Huh.
Like I thought it, because I spelled it right in the calendar.
Yeah. I always just thought it was Coocoo.
I always thought it was like cook or like cook.
Because the chickens in Zelda are called cuckoos as well, and like I've heard people say cuckoo as well. So like it's just weird.
Yeah, like it's definitely has cuck in the name.
Because I think in Zelda it's like Cuckoo.
It's a weird fucking word.
Yeah,
Man.
it's a weird word, but that's what this movie's called.
All right, so
Stars Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, my fucking boy.
Yep.
Fucking love Dan Stevens.
Which one was he?
The Doctor.
The German dude?
Yeah.
Okay, his face looked familiar. But
What is he in?
He was in the Kong X.
The what?
Godzilla. Kong X Godzilla.
Kong X Godzilla.
And he was in. You ever seen the Gift?
No. Yes.
with
once.
Jason Bateman?
Oh, no, that's a different movie.
Oh, okay.
The Visitor.
No.
No.
Okay.
I've seen The Gift.
Is it good? It's on my watch list.
It's on Netflix, or it was on Netflix. It was alright. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
There was another news. I think he's been in a bunch recently. Oh, he was Abigail.
Oh, he was like the main dude, or like the
Yeah.
dude who turned bad in Abigail.
Yeah.
I knew there was a better example of shit we've seen him in this year.
That was before we started podcasting.
Fucking love that guy.
Anyway,
It's pretty good.
so would you guys recommend this movie?
Yeah, but I'll probably wait for streaming.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't recommend going and watching it at the theater.
Right. Like
I
most of our
wouldn't-
recommendations, I would say if you got A-list and you want to see a horror movie, check it out. But
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't just pay regular
Yeah,
admission
I
to see it.
wouldn't. I wouldn't pay actual like money
Yeah.
for a ticket.
I'll piggyback off of like what you said, because I've also said this before. Like maybe if you kind of like artsy fartsy shit,
Yep.
because the way it's shot and the settings and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
the-
got a cool vibe. I like that.
But,
I'll say that a lot in this episode, I'm sure.
I don't know if I would completely recommend it. Like I'm not mad about watching it by any means, but
No.
I definitely don't think I wouldn't go.
I don't regret most movies, to be fair.
If I would have gone and paid for this, I would have been like, meh.
I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, I'd have been like, well, no, that goes $15.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was alright.
Yeah, but definitely, if you want to see it and you don't want to spend money, just wait for the streaming because you know it's
Yeah.
probably coming.
Yeah, like me.
Did anyone try to take notes during this movie?
Nah, if we would have sat in the back, we definitely could have. But
Yeah.
oh well.
There was tickets in the middle or in the back whenever I originally got the tickets.
But then when we got there, I checked and they were on the end now.
Yeah.
And I was like, I assume it was the same people.
we had time to cancel it and get new ones.
Sure. I mean, but it was too late.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too late,
But it was close
like,
to too late.
It would have taken too long, and
Yeah.
it would have been a fucking hassle. The movie starts, and they're like, it's like they're in a house, and you hear like the screaming and the
At the
wailing.
bottom of the stairs. You
Yeah.
see like the silhouettes of them arguing or something.
Yeah,
And then we zoom into this bedroom of this little girl, kind of almost looking like she's having a seizure.
yeah.
And she like stands up in the bed and then walks out of the room, almost like she's being mind controlled or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she just kind of like runs
Runs
away.
out the door.
Yep.
And that's like you're kind of cold open.
Yeah.
Like,
And then,
And then you just get the title card.
In the frame of the door, you see that bald dude.
Yeah, he gets a phone call or whatever, and in
Yeah.
German subtitles, it's like something about how she, you're gonna need a new one because that one ran away or whatever.
Yeah, like you see that bald dude with like just the mustache.
Yeah, because he comes back later because he's like one of the
Yeah.
security guards
Yeah.
with the guns, and then that's when you get your title card.
title card.
Cuckoo.
Title
Cuckoo.
card.
Cuckoo. And then
Then we get
cut to
this moving van that Hunter Schafer is in. Her name was Gretchen.
Gretchen.
And I found it weird. She was in the moving truck with the two movers.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the family was in the car in front of them, even though there was totally another spot. For
Yeah.
her in
It was
the
just
car.
3 people. And they're riding.
And the guy's talking about, like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, she's not actually... You find out that she has a half-sister from another marriage.
Yeah.
I don't know when you find out, but I mean, we're spoiling this movie anyway. Spoiler alert. Her mom has been dead for a while. So they get to this resort that pretty much takes place in the movie, and then we kind of find out through subtext that the dad is designed a new home for them on the acreage near the resort.
Yeah.
And then he's also helping design a new resort for Dan Stevens' character, who I also kind of forgot the name of, but he's this doctor.
Mr. Something.
Or like
It's Mr. Something, yeah. I
he's
don't think he's a doctor.
Because he's like a wildlife researcher, wildlife expert or something.
I can't remember his name either.
Wildlife enthusiast.
Since research nor development is here this week, her Koenig.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because the dad's practicing with the wife in the car on the way there, trying to pronounce it.
Yeah, he's practicing his German.
Yeah.
Because this film takes place in Germany. And it's also an American-German like co-production or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Because this movie, I actually looked it up after, and it has not released in Germany yet.
Really?
It releases on Dylan's birthday, the 29th.
That's cool.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
cool.
But, yeah, so...
Germany's like another country.
Dude, it's weird. Have you ever looked at time zones? Because it's like, bro, like... They literally places are living in the future. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I think Australia is, too.
Yeah, like...
Australia, Japan.
Well, like, a lot of those... And, like, even in Europe, bro, because, like, in Britain, it's, like, 1:30 a.m. the next day right now. Because they're 5 hours ahead. Crazy how that shit works, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's like... But they're still on the same... Fuck. Okay,
We're still on the same Earth, bro. This is going off the rails.
Yeah. so they meet with him. Gretchen goes to the bathroom. She goes into the stall. Because is she talking to her friend, or is she just got a voicemail from her friend?
I think she got a voicemail from her friend. She's listening to it.
Yeah, because then the friend's like, oh, here's a band that you should check out. It's a German band, I think. 'Cause she starts playing the song. And then somebody walks into the bathroom with her. And she finds it weird, but she turns off her phone. And the next thing you know, it's like a jump scare. The motherfucker's trying to get into
Yeah,
her
they're like
stall.
trying to get into the stall.
And she's like, occupied, occupado.
Yeah, of course, she thinks it's her little sister, I think.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
Alma. Because you also get to find out that Alma's deaf.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about
Or
that.
not, no, she's not deaf, she just can't talk.
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah.
mute.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's mute.
Because she's talking to the mover. He's like, yeah, she's not. He's like, what, she can't hear or something? He's like, no, she can hear, she just can't really talk.
And she's like, it's really fucking annoying or something.
Yeah.
Because she has to use, like, because they're talking to Dan Stevens' character. It's talking about, like, she's using, like, the little module, or, like, on her phone.
to speak the German.
And
he's like,
also-
oh, your German's better than your dad's.
This
She's
movie's
like, yeah.
aesthetic is really weird.
Yeah.
Because everything is, like, super old, but they have smartphones.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, the TVs are old.
It's definitely one of those things where, like, I don't think they're not like artsy about it like some movies are, but like you can definitely tell that like they're not trying to give away the time period.
Well, it's like an It Follows situation
Yeah.
where they have like old TVs, but then that girl has like an e-reader and a makeup.
Yeah, because in that
You know,
in the thing we
when
find
they
out
were
later
baby.
is the Lover's Nest. They had like a really old tube TV in
Yeah.
there too.
So it's just kind of strange, and I think they had it in the hospital room too. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that happens like, and then whenever she's in the bathroom stall,
After it bangs on it, it goes into the next one next to her.
yeah,
And then her mom comes. Stepmom
stepmom.
comes in, like, hey,
Yeah.
we're leaving, let's go. And then she like leaves really quickly, and then like it lingers on the bathroom stall, and then you see some boots come down from the toilet like they were hiding.
yeah, and then they go up to the they'll go to the house, and then she like sees like what was his name? Koenig and the parents are like looking around the house.
And then she's looking off into the trees.
Yeah.
And I don't think you see it at first, but then when she stops looking at the trees, you see like two little red eyes.
I didn't notice that.
Really?
No.
Because I think it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be the first cuckoo.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that
with those
cuckoo.
glasses on.
I think I had looked down right as soon as that happened.
Oh, yeah.
So
Because I kept looking like something's gonna be in those trees, but it wasn't there. And then like it pans to somewhere else, and then it went back to that shot, and then I saw it. But and then like this is the first time you kind of start to hear the screeching noise that becomes a thing later on in the movie.
And then
You hear it like a lot throughout the movie.
she turns around, and Alma is like trying to get her attention
Yeah.
because she wants
She
to
wants
get
to get the dog out of the car.
the dog out of the car. Which the dog is so random because it literally never is there in any
I think
shot
the people in
again.
front of us, they mentioned a dog after the movie was over. Like, yeah, there's a dog like right at the beginning. And
Yeah.
then it was never seen again.
No more dog after that.
No, doesn't die that we know of. It's just never seen
They
again.
open the trunk and it just pops out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see it before either. She was like a random dog.
Yeah, and then she grabs that big amp.
She grabs that amp that her dad got her.
Yeah.
And it says, like, love you.
Yeah, I assume it's from her mom.
Yeah. Well, it says, like, dad.
Yeah, it
Oh,
says
okay.
from
I
dad.
think
I couldn't read it. It was weird handwriting.
Yeah.
I could just make out I love you. That's all I got it made out.
I figured it was like a, hey, here's this.
It was like
you
a,
know?
hey, yeah, sorry, life shit right now, here's an amp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you find out she plays bass, which is pretty fucking cool.
Not a bad bassist.
Also, I like it comes later, but they incorporate the bass into the score really well, too. Like, there's some tension scenes where like, the bass.
Yeah.
That's like some pretty cool bass riffs.
So she goes up to her room, and she's,
Is this might be where she calls
this is the
mom
first time
for the
she
first
calls her
time?
mom.
And she's like, yeah, I wish I could stay with you, but I'm with Dad right now.
Yeah, because, well, this is why I'm thinking, like, her mom's still alive, because she's like, moving in with Dad was a mistake, you know.
I want to come home.
I want to come home.
But, like, I couldn't believe it, because I was like, it felt too forced. I don't know. But
no,
like,
I feel you. I think by, like, the second phone call,
yeah.
when
It's
she's,
not really
like,
trying to
freaking
hide
out,
it.
then I'm like, oh, okay, this is, like, her way to vent.
Yeah.
Like, and people do that.
Exactly.
I understand.
But my mom still has a voicemail from my grandpa. So, like, she's always had saved. Like, no matter what phone she gets, she always, like, re-downloads it. I was like,
I have one from my grandma.
Yeah.
It's her singing Happy Birthday.
Oh, that's sweet.
She calls the mom, and then she leaves the voicemail. And while she's leaving the voicemail, her dad comes and knocks on the door.
Yeah, and she, like, quickly, like, hangs it up.
And he comes in and tries to start talking to her. And then Koenig shows up, too.
Yeah, he's like, hey, we need an extra person at the...
Yeah, he's like, hey, you know, I know there's
the
nothing to
resort.
do around here
Yeah.
for people your age, so if you want to, like, come work.
And before that, we
the
see
resort.
that she hides a butterfly knife and a bunch of cash under her bed.
Yeah, she's got money.
And then she like the dad's like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but she immediately was like, yes, I'll do it. Which I guess, you know, in that moment you're supposed to be like, oh, she's probably doing it because she wants the money.
to go home.
Yeah.
Because she's talking about how, like, she's got some money saved up.
She
She's trying
wants to keep
get
saving up
home.
some more. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so he offers her the job. And her dad, and it makes me wonder, like, does her dad know about all this shit
I can
going
definitely
on?
see that interpretation.
You know, because
I
like,
can
why
definitely
is
see
he
it
so
being
like, no, you can't get a job?
Yeah, and then in the hospital too, it's like, I gotta go see your sister. Like, he cares more about the sister than he does her.
Yeah.
Because maybe he knows what she is.
It's like, homie, kind of sus a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like that dude, the guy who played the dad, I know it's not, but I think he kind of looks like Gerard Butler.
I thought he looked like Javier Bardem.
I can see that one too.
Yeah. But like, I also know I've seen him in other stuff too. I just can't name it right now. But anyways, I think after that we cut to her on her first day at the host.
Yeah, I think so too. And they're teaching her like how to,
Basically, customer service.
yeah, like just
Like
what to
the
do.
cop is pretending to be a customer, and she has to like be like, "Oh, would you like anything? Need anything? We have
Yeah.
this, we have that." And then that's when we see the first woman randomly throw up in the lobby.
Yeah, she randomly
Yeah.
throws up in the lobby, and then like
She has to be taken outside to throw up some
Yeah,
more.
she.
And they're like, "Oh,
Gretchen's
that's
kind of
weird."
confused. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes."
Yeah, that happens sometimes. Kind of getting prepared for it, I guess. But then we find out that the resort has to close at 10
Yeah,
for unknown reason, and
which is weird for a hotel.
But and then because Dan Stevens makes it a point, Koenig makes it a point to say every night at 10 we'll turn off the lights. Well, I don't want you working too late. I'll take you home.
he tells Gretchen that like he doesn't want her working late,
So he's gonna make the other girl.
so he's gonna make the other girl work, and then they get into a mini argument, and
I thought we
also,
were gonna split the shifts. She said. Yeah.
and then whenever the girl that throws up in the lobby is also outside throwing up, and then this is when she gets the first look at the cop guy.
Yeah. She looks in the car and this guy's reading like hiding behind a newspaper. And he brings the newspaper down.
Yeah.
You can tell he's like snooping.
I think his name was Henry. So she sees Henry, and you know, you obviously know, like, okay, he's gonna come back later. But then, yeah, so they talk about that, and Beatrix is the other girl's name. And her and Koenig kind of get into it, and he's like, I'm not going to keep having these debates with you, blah, blah, blah. I need you to stay and work, you know what to do kind of thing. And then
But then we cut.
this is when she's playing bass, and she's like laying on the bed playing the bass. And then her little sister, Alma.
She's playing that song that the friend said. I guess she's
Yeah.
trying to like learn the bass chords to it.
Yeah.
And
Because
it's a really cool song, and she's playing it pretty well.
She has the headphones
on. She can't hear. And then it loops like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I thought that was weird at first.
Because like she finally realizes that what's her face is behind, almost behind her, pretty much almost having a seizure.
Well, I don't think that, because like she turns around and she sees Alma doing that, and then she puts the bass down and she goes to take her headphones off, and then she starts looping
With like a really loud,
because there's like that banshee screaming going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
and it's like reverberated.
And then she loops, and like the loop is basically like it starts her over like from standing there to putting her bass guitar down, taking her headphones off, and then she loops again.
Yep.
And it's like
And
she
then
keeps
she looks
doing
like 2 or
it.
3 times.
I think it's 3 times.
And then she finally does the 3rd time and goes to like touch Alma, and then Alma like freaks out and scratches her.
Scratches her, pushes her back,
Yeah.
and then the parents come running in.
The amp comes to unplug and like, hey, turn it down, and they come in and like freak
Yeah.
out. It's like, what happened? And then they end up taking Alma to the hospital.
And then they say that she's having seizures.
Yeah.
And it's immediately Gretchen's fault.
Yeah. And then, like, the dad doesn't outright blame her at first, but he does, like, kind of look at her, and he's like, because they talk about how it's, like, a change in family dynamic could be causing this, and, you know, like, Gretchen just showed
I heard her
up.
lash out or something like that.
Yeah.
But then, so they end up going to the hospital while she goes back to the resort to work. And then that's when Beatrice was like, yeah, thanks for covering for me. You find out she's dating that cop.
She's dating the cop
earlier.
guy, Eric, is his name.
We haven't been on a date in forever.
Yeah.
So she's going to stay till 10 and close up. And then that's when we get the cut of her leaving, and then she falls asleep. And then a different girl comes in named Trixie, who wants a room, but she dings the bell really loud with her fucking fist.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, fucking.
Here's the sheriff.
Gretchen's like, ooh. It's like, I'd like a room, please.
Yeah, like a room, please.
But then you can like eat, and then like right at the beginning, you can easily cut that sexual tension with a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you like music? Do you like jazz?
And then
He's like, you should go to Paris. They got good jazz.
while they're talking, you know, she gets the room. They're talking and they're kind of flirty. And then the girl comes in and like stumbles out into the fucking lobby like half naked.
Throws up, chugs a Pepsi.
Throws up, chugs a
Walks
Pepsi,
away.
and then stumbles away.
Yeah.
And then that Trixie girl's like, well, I guess I better see what's up with that. They start to
phone
follow
rings.
her. And then the phone
And
rings.
then that's Koenig.
And he's like,
He's expecting Beatrice, and then she's like, oh, it's, but it turns out it's
Gretchen.
And he's like, oh, you're not supposed to be here.
What the fuck
The
are you
lights are still
doing?
on. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he lives up the road a little bit in a different bungalow
Yeah.
that he like converted into his house. And he's like, I'm coming to get you. She's like, no, I gotta like disassociate and customer. I gotta go see what that's about. It's fine. I got my bike. I'll call you later.
Yeah.
Or like, but then as she walks away, the phone rings again. But she's not worried
She's already
about that.
and then like she goes out there and doesn't she?
I don't really think she does anything.
I don't think she does anything,
She
yeah.
starts closing it up because I think Trixie takes care of that other chick.
Well,
Could
I think she walks out the door slightly, but then she pulls out her like little switchblade.
Yeah, and goes back in. I think.
Yeah.
Because you see Trixie follow her up to the pink bungalow that's like the lover's nest, is what they call it, I think.
Yeah.
And Gretchen goes back in, locks up, leaves.
Yeah, on her bike.
On her bike.
Throws on her headphones.
And as soon as she's gone, Koenig shows up. And he's always kind of weird towards Gretchen like this whole time, too.
Yeah.
We didn't mention that.
Super weird.
Like when he met her and he like double rubbed her shoulders and shit.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
But,
He was. We didn't even mention the other girl from the hospital that
oh yeah, I can't
that
remember
shows
her name.
Because I at first I thought she was the one that came into the bathroom
Me too.
because she had
similar
she looked like she was
shoes.
wearing the same boots when she got out of the car.
I looked at that too.
But then there's somebody else later who also had boots like that too. So I was like, maybe it was her. But I assumed maybe it was just the dog. Because I assumed with the boots, I thought maybe it was the cuckoo. Because when the other person, because there's multiple cuckoos, they dress them up as the same person.
Yeah.
When later on when we find out who that is, I saw the boots and they look similar too. So I thought maybe the thing that came into the bathroom the first time was the cuckoo.
The doctor's name is
Maybe.
Dr. Bonomo.
Bonomo.
So, yeah, so we did miss Dr. Bonomo, and she just kind of introduces herself. And they also mention, we missed this part too, they mentioned like they didn't know that Gretchen was coming.
Yeah, it was like a last minute thing almost.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a part of it.
Which circles back around to what Koenig says later about like, you know, we need you out of the way for the imprinting process.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like you would just complicate the matter.
But anyway, so Koenig gets to
And doesn't he call somebody?
The
or
lobby.
Is he talking to someone in the car?
He's on the phone with somebody. He's talking to him. And then he goes to the door, and the doors are open.
Yeah.
Even though she's just locked up.
Because while she's locking up too, I think that happens again too, where the doors are where she just closes them and then the door magically opens up again.
Yeah.
That's when she
And
gets the
then
switchblade.
that's when she gets the switchblade and like quickly he's like, nope, fuck this shit, locks back up, leaves.
Yeah, I probably would have done the
And
same.
she's hauling ass on her bike.
And like it's this really cool shot of like each street light she passes by. You kind of see a little bit of a shadow behind her.
Well, first it shows like somebody running.
Yeah,
And I get-
like I guess you couldn't tell because it was like from the side.
Yeah, like I guess you didn't see it, but like
But
we
from the
see
angle
it.
we see from the camera, you see the person running.
And then it's that cool
And
shot.
then it cuts like behind her, where every time she passes by a street light, the shadow gets a little closer, and she sees a hand reaching out, a shadow of a hand reaching out, and she starts freaking out, starts pedaling faster.
Yeah.
And that's when it pans to the cuckoo, fucking hauling fucking ass behind her.
That was a pretty good.
She speeds the fuck up. It was a really good.
That was a pretty good little jump scare too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like it was a good one. It's,
And that motherfucker was.
Yeah.
Hauling ass.
And then she starts hauling ass on her bike, and she gets to the little hospital they have, and she
does a sick Akira slide on her bike.
Yeah.
That was dope.
And then she runs inside. She's like, "You gotta let me in. You gotta let me in."
And then motherfucker goes, "I'm coming, fuck off."
And they let her in. And then she opens the door, and
if they would have closed the other one before the thing can get to her.
Yeah.
Kind of like face plants into the other
She
one.
kind of trips and runs into the other one, cracks the fucking door, and then her head just starts gushing blood.
Yeah.
And then the Cuckoo's just kind of standing there, and it's about to come in, and then they open the other door and get her. And then, the cops show up, and
as
the Cuckoo's gone.
soon as the doctor opens the door, the lady is gone.
Yeah. And then it cuts to them being in the hotel room, and she's getting staples in her head from where it's so fucked up.
And the cops trying to get her story straight of
and they're trying to kind of make out like she sounds crazy. Like they're like, oh, some lady just
I think it'll
disappeared.
sound better if we say it this way. She's like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. And then
that's when she sees Alma and her dad and her and the stepmom in the hallway, and she's like, "What, Dad? What are you doing?" She's like, and that's when we find out, she's been having seizures.
Yeah.
They're gonna look into it. They're doing a little study on her.
She was like,
and that's when they kind of allude to it being her fault at the same time.
Hmm.
Because the dad starts to ask her what happened to her, and she's like, I was attacked, and then I was running away, I fell, and then Beth turns around, which is the stepmom, and sees Gretchen, and she's like, Gretchen, why are you here? And then the dad completely disregards her saying she was attacked, and he was like, oh, she just fell, it's fine.
Yeah.
So nobody believes her. She's kind of got that thing going on too. And then that's when they start talking about Alma's seizures and how it could be from a change in the family dynamic, and that's why she's acting out.
Yeah.
Or a hormonal change.
She's just too young for that, so it's probably the condition she's in, which is why they think it was probably Gretchen that did it with whatever happened.
Yeah, they also said loud music could cause it as well.
Yeah, which with the amp, could happen.
Pretty much everything that they said kind of just allude to Gretchen.
It could be Gretchen.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the next day, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm leaving." She's gonna steal the money from the cash register and leave.
Yeah, because she's counting. She puts her base under the counter.
Yeah, you were right. Because that's when the doctor. That's when the cop Henry comes up.
Yep.
Like, hey, we need to talk about.
He's like, we need to talk about your attack from last night.
But then Trixie comes back up, then Trixie comes back up. Trixie comes back up, and he's like, oh, I have to help that customer first. And he's like, well, come to my room afterwards.
He says he's having an AC problem, and I need you to come to my room and talk to me.
Yeah.
And she's
like, yeah, I'll be there after I help this customer or whatever. And then that's when Trixie's like,
come with me to Paris.
Yeah.
Well, she had said that the day before too, and then she's like, "You gonna come with me?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then she steals money out of the cash register and grabs her bass guitar, and they. No. First she says, "Do you smoke?"
Yeah. And then they have this make out sesh by the trees.
Yeah. And then they go make out, and then they're going to leave, and they're in the car, and they're smoking a blunt, and they're having a good time.
Because Beatrix comes into the resort and tidies up because the place is kind of a mess from how Gretchen left it,
and then
she just sees the pack of rolling papers.
Yeah.
And I was like, nice. And then they're smoking in the car while they're trying to leave.
And the cash register's empty. She looks at that too. And they're smoking and driving down the road, and they're just talking about stuff. And they talk about how the lady went to the pink shack, and that's when you find out it's called the love nest.
Yeah.
Or the couple's nest.
She says it 50 times because they get stuck on another loop.
Because then they get stuck in a fucking loop.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, the pink...
the pink bungalow. I wasn't going to follow her in there.
And then she says, oh yeah, they call it the love nest.
Yeah. And then they're driving, and they don't realize they're in a loop.
Yeah.
And this one immediately happens because they don't have, they don't have anything covering their ears at this point. Kind of a spoiler alert because you find out later they got to keep their ears covered.
Yeah. Yep.
So then they're driving and they go to turn, and the Cuckoo is in the fucking road screaming. Oh, shit.
And then they have to swerve.
And they swerve and they wreck.
And fucking flip 3 or 4 times.
Yep. And then it cuts to
a really cool upside down shot where the blood's dripping into her eyes.
The blood drips down into her eye, where she's all fucked up
looking.
Yeah, and then the cuckoo comes. And I guess we haven't really said it. The Cuckoo is basically just this lady dressed in a trench coat with big ass cloud glasses on with some red lenses.
Yeah.
And she's got red eyes underneath.
And blonde hair.
And blonde hair and a hood on.
Yeah, and then she rips the fucking door off and is just trying to reach to get her, and then that's when some lights pull up and you hear a couple gunshots.
Yeah, and then it goes to black again, and then she wakes up in the hospital. And she looks
wakes
over.
up. Her dad's passed out next to her because she's in the same room as Alma.
Yeah, they put her in the same room as Alma, so they're all sleeping.
But then they move Alma later when she wakes back up.
Yeah.
And then is that when the dad's leaving the
Well, I think doesn't the detective come in there into the room, or is that later? That is later because I think it's her sleeping, and then I think maybe it's Koenig comes in.
Yeah,
there.
it's Koenig. He's talking about he's trying to get a story straight. Talking about basically it's probably for the best if you're not here. Almost trying to convince her not to be be there.
Yeah, he is. But because he's talking to her about something,
And
and
then
then
the dad walks in, and he like switches the conversation.
He
Like,
says,
like,
apology
apology
accepted.
accepted. Like,
yeah, and leaves.
because she stole the money. He's like, yeah, so like, but obviously, I guess she got fired because the dad says, I ain't got no job.
And the dad says, you're not going to get another one. Like, you know, you were almost 18, and I can't tell you what to do.
Yep.
Because she's begging him not to leave, and he's like, I got to work.
I
got work to do. Because Alma, you know, now that Alma's like, okay, and at home, and Beth's watching Alma, he's got to get home so that he can give Beth a break and watch Alma.
Right.
And he's got to go home and work and stuff, too.
And it's like another one of those things, like, of course, like, everything else but
Gretchen.
But Gretchen.
Yeah. Because that's kind of like a running
trying to
thing,
be an
too.
absentee parent, yeah.
She's like the
he
black
also yells
swan.
at her for being high, too.
Yeah,
She's like, I wasn't high. It's like, yes, you were. They tested you.
They tested you, yeah.
And she's like, it followed me. He's like, enough of that shit. Like that's basically when you find that when you pretty much solidify that like everyone thinks she's crazy. They don't believe something's following her. And then the dad leaves.
And then I think she goes to sleep and then wakes up and the detective's talking to her, Henry, because he's telling her about. He kind of tells her like what's going on and how he's got to watch it, right? Because they're in the hospital whenever they talk.
Yeah, he's like, does this when he kind of tells a little bit of the backstory of like he doesn't say who it is, but he says there was this woman who came with this husband, and then the woman got infected or something.
Yeah, I think so.
In the lover's nest.
Because then I know the next thing I remember is like her asleep at home, and then she gets up and she comes outside, and the doctor is at their house, and they're all sitting outside near the pool.
And there's some there's some conversations too where like it's been about a month, I think, that she's been at home because she's talking to the doctor about how a month has passed or whatever, and because her face looks better too, like her face is a little more comfort than it was.
Her arm's still broken though. She has a broken arm.
Yep.
Super broken too. It's like in a giant
fucking robotic cast.
Yeah. And then she's talking to she calls her mom at this point again too. There's like a voicemail of her calling her mom.
Yeah.
And
she's like freaking the fuck out. Like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
And then the stepmom calls her. She's like, Gretchen, come on. And then that's when she comes in the living room.
Yeah.
No, because they're like, oh, did we wake you?
I think that's later too, though, because she comes out.
No, because I remember she was on the phone with her mom, but she was in a different room though, and then her mom.
Well, she calls her mom in the hospital too, because later whenever they show like the cuts, it's her talking to her mom in the hospital. Because remember, she comes out and they're sitting on the porch, and the little girl Alma's listening to music, and and they're like, "You can't. Music's not good for you." The doctor's saying no music, and she's like, "It's just fucking music." And then she's like, "I'm going out."
Which I guess now, which is cool though too, because I guess that's because that would impede like her listening to the other stuff. Mm-hmm. So I guess that makes sense. It's cool.
She also signed to Alma.
It looks cool. Like
it's cool.
Music's cool.
It's cool. They're like, and then that's when the stepmom goes,
"No, it's not."
Cool.
Like I kind of see her too. She's like, "Oh no, it's not." It's sign language, but don't listen to her.
And then it cuts to them her going and meeting Henry, and they're talking about it some more backstory
about how they were in the lover's nest.
Yep, and they're talking about the lover's nest, and also you see that
the wife threw up.
Another thing that I forgot to mention in the hospital is you see her walk out, and she sees that Trixie's still alive. The lady that she ran off with, because she's asking for Gretchen, like, is she okay? But anyway, so yeah, they go to the lover's nest, and they're like kind of scoping it out during the daytime, because bro's got on the sweet fucking overcoat. Yeah. That sweet brown overcoat, I noticed that. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
That was pretty good. It was a cool look. And then when they had that gunfight later, I was like, bro, this guy's pretty cool.
This guy's kind of cool.
This guy's got some style.
And then after that, is that when we cut to nighttime when they're investigating?
Yeah, and they're watching it, and you see like somebody's in there, and it's like a lady in a towel, and you don't realize who it is. Yeah. It was Beatrix, the lady that works at the hotel. Yeah. Or works in the lobby. Trying to have
a lover's week,
lover's nest time with Eric, her cop,
because like they're not supposed to be there.
And he comes in there, and he's
like putting rose petals out. And he's like, dude, we can't fucking be here.
Yeah,
like later on we find out he knows what's going on.
Yeah,
and she's like, all right, let me just finish drying my hair and we'll leave.
Well, he comes in there and she's like, she gets fucking naked, bro. Don't see anything. Anyway, so and then like she throws a fit because like they're not gonna fuck and stay there because she's been trying to do that, whatever. And then they come to the agreement where like, okay, let me dry my hair and then we'll leave. Like he says, we'll make it up to her. Yep. And so she starts drying her hair, and
then we kind of cut back to Henry and
Gretchen.
That's when we find out Gretchen fell asleep.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like, okay, you know.
And he grabs her butterfly knife. It's like, really, a butterfly knife?
Yeah.
And then that's when we hear something, and he sees the sees the cuckoo, and he like looks out there, and he's like spying on him, and then that's when it's trying to get into the house.
Well, yeah,
the bungalow.
because it starts the loop too. Remember, there's a loop of Eric
Yep.
like putting the wine glasses up over the sink,
Yep.
and then trying to grab the
Her,
pie,
and her drying her hair.
And this was probably the coolest loop I think in the movie because it was probably the longest.
Yeah.
And with it being two people and not knowing what the fuck's going on, because also though like it cuts like at the very end of the loop, it's Beatrix drying her hair.
Yep.
And then she turns around, and from the bedroom you can like look out and look into the hallway, and there's like a turn.
Yep.
And then like all of a sudden it's just kind of focused on that, and then all of a sudden like the cuckoo's like behind,
And that's
like,
my
and
favorite.
then it's just there.
That's my favorite type of horror too. Is like it's always what you can't see like coming around the corner,
Yeah.
like and like when it slowly comes around the corner.
I knew the jump.
I love those.
I knew the
fucking
jump
scares.
scare was coming, and it still kind of got me.
Yeah, it still kinda got
I
me.
didn't think it was gonna I thought it was gonna be one of those slow burns, but no, it just like it's slow for a second, and then it's like right in
there.
front of you. I was like, oh,
and I think that the noise, because like okay, I always hated jump scares whenever it's like loud music cue.
But like this one has the noise. This kind
the
of
noise
purpose.
works because it's supposed to happen.
Part of it.
Yeah, exactly, and I like that a lot.
Same, and it's different than other sounds we hear in other horror.
Well, normally it's just like a music tempo goes up, you know,
Yeah.
bong, like a Conjuring or whatever. But this one was
I thought you were
good,
gonna say
and I
something.
liked it a lot. And then like you see, and it's so weird looking because at this point you don't know what the fuck's going on. But like she has Beatrix like lay down on the bed, and this is whenever the cop sees him.
Yeah.
And he starts trying to come in to get inside because he's like sneaking around.
He's
the
looking in
house.
through the window on the side.
Yeah, and she's like, it literally looks like, and because she does, like
Yeah.
she pulls something out of her fucking puss, and it's like all nasty and slimy.
It looks like placenta or something.
and she's gonna like put it in like Beatrix's mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck's going on? And then the cop,
And I think the cuckoo kind of hears him.
well, the
too.
cuckoo hears the cop, but then it cuts, and Gretchen has woken up and walked into the fucking
Yeah.
house.
And the cuckoo goes after her, and then that's when doesn't he shoot at her?
Yeah, he shoots it, and then the dude comes in because he has
And
like
then he ends up chasing her.
because he has it in the bag, bro.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and it's
Yeah, and just instantly catches
Because as soon as I saw the feathers, I was like, oh, that's like a little silencer. That's kind
yeah.
of cool.
And then he chases it out the window, and then
And then Gretchen.
Gretchen sees Beatrix getting ready to start throwing up, and then she like turns her over
Yeah.
so she won't die.
And then that's when she sees a little puddle of goo on the floor.
Yeah, she's a little.
And then I
puddle of
think
goo.
it cuts to her waking up the next day again. Like there's a lot of random cuts of like, bam, she's basically over.
Yeah.
I made a pretty disgusted face when it was just a puddle of goo. I was like, ugh.
Even
Yeah,
before
I
that,
know.
when she was reaching in there, I'm like, what the fuck?
I know,
is
and she was like
going
fucking playing with
She's
her.
like,
I know,
what are you
like,
doing?
"Ah!"
Please don't touch me with that.
So I think you're
Yeah,
right.
I think this is when the mom is like, hey, come on, the doctor's.
Yeah, they're like, did we wake you?
Yeah.
Because that's whenever Mr.
Koenig
is
is
there,
there.
and he's outside playing
Playing
with
the
the flute.
That was
with
funny.
fucking Alma.
Like fucking
Fucking
Willy,
wood flute. Just
fucking Willy Wonka.
Well, this would be whenever, or would this be whenever she comes? No, because she'd be talking on the phone. When does she talk on the phone again? Doesn't she leave another message for her mom? We missed that somewhere. So they come downstairs and they're all like, "Gretchen, come sit with us," you know, whatever.
And then this is when she starts interrogating Conan. Like, why are we here?
yeah,
He's like, this fucking place is weird, and no one else is acknowledging it but me.
yeah.
Typical horror shit of like, why is anyone else just not questioning
Yeah,
this?
because she asked him, like, why are we here? And he was like, you guys were here for a perfect reason. She's like, that's fucking weird.
That's a fucking weird thing to say.
Like, how are you guys not fucking seeing how weird this is?
She's like, he answered it the weirdest way possible.
Yeah.
Like,
And then he lets it slip, quotations, that the package is there for her.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and also he's like out there like teaching Alma, like he's like playing with some weird flute,
Yeah.
which you find out what it is later. Well, kinda. It shows what it is for the most part. And then yeah, the package, and she's like, "What is this? Like, why is this here?" She's talking to her dad, and
And he says, we sold the old house.
we sold the house because it was still mine.
Yeah.
Like, it was still his house. And he was like, and I took the money and I put it into an account for you. Because, you know, like that whole time, like when she's talking to Trixie in the car, she's telling Trixie she's got a house
Yeah.
in the U.S. that she's trying to get back to.
But we just have to get there first.
Yeah.
And then that's where it's like, oh, we get to airports. Oh, we can do that in Paris.
Yep. So then you find out, like, and that's whenever it definitely, like, seals the deal that her mom is dead.
Yeah.
Because you see the answering machine.
And she's listening back to the messages that's playing. But then there's this other message that Alma left.
Alma called the mom.
Yeah.
And she's like,
she uses that little thing on her phone. It's like, please, Alma would really love to visit.
Yeah.
You to visit.
yeah, like
She
Gretchen would
misses
really
you.
love to hear back from you. Like, she loves you and she misses you. Which is that was a very sweet moment.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that was a very
before
nice
that,
moment.
she she does talk shit about. That's one scene earlier when she's talking to Beatrix. She's like, oh, she's a little bitch.
Yeah, like
because you can tell she's just mad because she gets like all the attention and all the shit.
Yeah, because it's like my dad's.
Yeah, my dad.
She says my dad's daughter.
She's not my sister.
And it's really sweet and you can kind of see like Alma very much idolizes Gretchen and like loves Gretchen, but like Gretchen's very weird towards Alma, which I understand.
Yeah.
But it's a very sweet moment because she's like, please call her back.
That's what she basically realized. Oh shit, Alma's not that bad.
Because Alma doesn't know that Gretchen's mom is dead.
Right.
You know. So that happens, which is a very sweet little moment. Then Gretchen goes downstairs and Mr. Koenig is still in the house.
Yep. Because everyone else, he's like, oh, where's?
She's like, where's everybody at?
Yeah, they had to go to the hospital.
And Alma had another seizure.
Yeah.
They had to take her back to the hospital.
But you shouldn't be here. We're gonna get you out of here.
Which she's probably having another seizure because he was playing that fucking flute right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, to get him out of the house.
Well, she also punches the dad.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gretchen fucking socks her dad in the mouth.
When the dad finally lets it slip that like she sold the house and this is all kind of left, she's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Pops him.
But anyway, he tells Gretchen like, hey, look,
you shouldn't be here.
You shouldn't be here. Pretty much.
Pack a bag. We go to my house. We'll get you some money. And
leave a note.
The next train leaves at like 10.
Yeah. Leave a note, and the next train leaves in an hour. And she's like, she just kind of does what he tells her to do.
Because she's desperate for a way out. Like, I get it.
Yeah. I in that situation, I would be too.
And then they're in the Jeep that he drives, which all the cars in this movie are also really old looking. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yeah,
Jeep's
I like
really
his
old
Jeep.
looking.
That's pretty cool.
And he takes her to his house. They get to the house, and then
that's when they go into the kitchen, and then Henry is tied up on the floor.
Yeah, he's tied up on the floor.
He's like, it's time for you to learn who he really is. He talks about how Henry he's not a policeman anymore because he was discharged after he kept investigating a case he was told not to, and he wasn't assigned to.
Because Eric was assigned to it, apparently.
Yeah, he said Eric's a real police officer.
Yeah, Eric's a real police officer. He's got access to all these files. Henry does not. And there's another guy there too, another cop. He's like a bald boy.
That's the bald guy from earlier that we see at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, he's the dude that closes the door?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
And then he's like, all right, well, let's go get you your money. And then they go into this room with a pool that's been drained.
Yeah.
It has like a bed and a nightstand in it. And you can tell, like, if this is a room where, like, oh, you're not going to come out of this room.
No.
And then she's like, what the fuck is this? And then he sprays her with some shit and she passes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it cuts.
She wakes up good.
Well, they're in the little like control room they have. They're sitting in there talking, and she wakes up.
Before that, he plays the flute again.
Oh yeah, he does play the flute again.
Yeah.
And
like one of the windows or the door opens up or something rises up. But I think that might.
Well, first before that happens though, she's like running and banging into the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
Remember?
She's like, you can't leave, Gretchen. He's like, what did you spray me with? He's like, pheromones.
Pheromones. Yeah. And then the window opens and you see.
And it's another loop because the window opens. The girl from earlier comes in.
She starts walking.
The little girl from the beginning of the film.
Because it's like during the loop, like
everything else loops, but the girl
keeps getting closer and closer. Because like Gretchen keeps jumping into the pool and pulling a piece of the bed frame off and breaking it, like the wooden slats that hold it up to have a weapon. And then it keeps cutting back to the cuckoo getting closer and closer and closer. And then also, it shows that Koenig and the bald guy leave the room, and Henry's in the room with just Eric.
Yep.
And like you can see like
because Koenig re-enters he comes in when the cuckoo gets really close and he plays the flute and it stops like he's controlling it
because it doesn't.
And then he's like, not yet. We got to do this or whatever.
It's like good practice or whatever.
Yeah. And then they have Henry and the cop watching on a monitor what he's doing because he's gonna have it infect Gretchen.
Yeah.
The same way it fucking reached in its puss earlier.
Because that one also reaches in its puss to like pull something out.
Yeah.
And I think I guess it doesn't put it in Gretchen, but it's like about to. I don't know why she throws up though. Because remember she still starts to throw up.
Yeah, it's just like I guess the whole process does it. That part was a little unclear too.
Yeah, because that's when the Henry shows up and just shoots.
Yeah, well you hear the two gunshots,
and you think he killed Henry, but then Henry comes in with a gun and is like,
well then you hear a third headshot. Remember, you hear a third shot, and that's whenever the cop goes. The other cop leaves the room.
Keurig was
to go check it out. The bald guy.
Keurig.
Yeah, what was his name again?
Koenig.
Yeah, Koenig
Keurig's
was
coffee, bro.
Hey, it's still German.
Mixture.
Koenig was like I told him not in the house.
Yeah.
And that's when you hear the third one. He's like, well, I guess I'm gonna go look at that.
And then
Henry comes in. I guess maybe he doesn't hit a vital area, but he
shoots him in like the shoulder.
Oh, okay, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, he shoots.
He also shoots the redhead girl on the shoulder too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shoots her.
Because he shoots Koenig, and then because Koenig is getting ready to kill Gretchen, like he's trying to smother her with a pillow.
If he was going for the kill, he has stormtrooper.
Yeah,
aim.
agreed. Well, he does later too, where they're just shooting back and forth at each other.
They both had shit aim.
Yeah, because Koenig is
except for the last shot.
Koenig is trying to kill Gretchen, and then Henry shows up and then shoots him, and then
Gretchen lives, and then he backs the Cuckoo into a corner and shoots it.
Shoots it too, and then it cuts to.
It cuts again, to them just like sitting in the kitchen, and then he says what does he say? It inhabits them, impregnates them, something.
Yeah, like
he uses a certain word, but I can't remember.
I think it's basically he's talking about the cuckoo, the bird.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about in the car too.
That's what it was. Is that he's like, oh, you see what that is? That's a picture of a cuckoo. It's like a fascinating animal.
And they talk about how cuckoos will leave their offspring like in another bird's nest,
so it'll raise the offspring,
and then it comes and collects it later.
Right.
So like that's basically what they're doing to these people is like they're impregnating.
They're bringing them to here to impregnate them and then have the babies.
And then once it's raised, they take it back.
Yep.
Essentially.
And it becomes the new baby, and then the cycle keeps going and on. Which I guess kind of coincides with the loop idea, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But I mean, I still don't know how it loops.
And they also
that's
talk
when he's talking about the bird because the clock goes off and he has that creepy ass fucking laugh.
Yeah, because he like finds it ironic. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he was
and
like,
before that, they
like,
talk
about
go ahead.
the birds. He was like, those birds go to different beaches and lay their eggs and let other birds raise it.
Yeah, and then they also talk about how like he said something about his wife, and she knows about his wife.
And then that's when you realize the story he told earlier was him and his wife.
Yeah, because
they came here, and then it happened to them. And then I guess that's why he was kicked off the case, was because he was too close to it.
Yeah, because she reaches across the table, and you think she's going to grab her knife, and then she touches his hand, and she tells him about how she calls her mom.
Yeah, and
maybe it's also the same.
Maybe you can do that too.
Maybe you can do that too. And I think that's when he does his creepy laugh.
And then that's when the clock goes off. He's like, ah.
Yeah.
Because like, Cuckoo, get it?
And then they start talking
that's when, like Dylan says, that's when he describes what they do with the offspring.
And then they go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Or at some point it cuts to the hospital because it shows where they're like.
I think after he explains it, that's when they're like, oh, so that's what they're doing with Alma. Because they do cut to the hospital where they're getting ready to put Alma in that sleep study, and like they said that we're going to put him in give her a mild sedative.
I think they drug Beth. Because remember, she gets like sick, and they have to take her home.
And that's when that one doctor, I can't remember their name, says drink this.
Yeah, well, they gave her like a cup of something. Yeah, well, I couldn't tell if it was pills or not because it made a noise.
Well, they gave her a couple pills, and then they gave her the water.
And then she's like, he said, here, take this, it'll help.
Because before that, she's saying how she's not gonna leave or whatever, and then they're like, well, fuck that. And then they get rid of her, and as they're leaving is whenever Gretchen and Henry show up,
and they're on the other side of the two-way mirror while they're getting ready for that sleep study.
Yeah, and they're talking about like well, they're gonna let they know the cuckoo's coming, so they're gonna let it come collect its offspring. That's the experiment they're doing. And while they're doing that, Koenig shows back up with a fucking rifle, and he's talking about like something that you keep under the staircase, like the test that you think I don't know about. That you've done behind my back.
He's talking to that other doctor, the two other doctors, the short-haired one and the
Bonneman.
And then he ends up shooting both of them.
When does Henry take that picture out of Gretchen's back pocket?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that might be in the kitchen too.
Because he pulls out.
Because she takes that, and that's whenever.
That's when I think that's what gets him to the hospital. Is he realizes that this was their honeymoon,
and then
or when they came the first time, that was the honeymoon. So that's when they're like, oh, we're gonna bring them back. That's when Gretchen. He said, how old is your sister?
Yeah.
And that's when they realized that they need to go to the hospital and get all.
Good call out, D. Well, you find out that fucking Henry's not going to get her. He's going to kill her.
Yeah, like whatever needs to be stopped.
He's trying to stop the process.
Yeah, because like he's almost like in his own movie where maybe if this was a different movie, we'd see his perspective and then he'd be getting his revenge. It's almost like a couple different movies from different perspectives, which is cool.
Yeah,
like from the mad scientist's perspective, from Gretchen's perspective, and then from the perspective of the guy who was there at the beginning of it.
For sure.
Because there's that scene later when Dan Stevens is like Koenig is like it might have been when Gretchen was still getting infected. He's like you've gotten to see 3 of these ceremonies. Most people don't even get to see one.
That's whenever he's infecting Gretchen.
Yeah.
But he kills those 2 doctors. and he starts burning shit.
And then he goes for Alma, and then that's when Gretchen's gonna go try and save her, but Henry tries to like tackle her and stop her,
and they get into a little fight.
And then she like slashes his face, stabs
him.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of dumb.
Which I thought he was gonna die, but then clearly he doesn't die. Like
I remember
it takes a lot to bring him down.
In my mind, whenever it happened, I was like, well, normally people don't die from just one stab wound.
Right.
Like you can get stabbed and live pretty easily.
Yeah.
Now, if you get stabbed a bunch, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But
depends on if it hits an organ the first time.
True.
Well, like I still think you can live.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could stab me, like, right here, and I'd be okay.
A little lower, you might have problems. There's an artery, like, right under the armpit.
Yeah. But, like...
Kevin Nash got stabbed in the filming of Punisher.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But anyway. So...
Well, because you pointed, like, right here, and it was, like, right where
that
that
got stabbed, yeah. So then that's when he gets to stab her, and then he goes after Alma.
She goes after Alma. She runs into the room and wakes up Alma and gets her clothes. Gets her sandals, and they start to leave.
And that's how I think Dan Stevens starts to burn the stuff.
And then the Cuckoo shows up. Because they start a loop, I think. Because she puts the headphones on Alma. Gretchen puts the headphones on Alma, remember?
Yeah.
Because she's using like her arm to cover up her ear.
Because I think Dan Stevens is like, no, not Dan Stevens. But like the Cuckoo's chasing her, and then she goes into this like records room. And then she hides while the Cuckoo comes in.
Well, she sees that, she like holds the knife like she's going to stab Alma.
That's what it is, yeah.
And then she's like, the Cuckoo stops. So then they start slowly making their way to it. But then Alma, being a little kid, looks up and sees that she's got that knife on her. So she pushes her away.
Yeah.
And then
Alma runs into that room.
Alma runs into the records room.
And then she follows, and the Cuckoo follows after her.
Yeah.
And she goes to hide. The Cuckoo comes in, the lights turn off, and then she's like hiding from this Cuckoo, goes around the corner, and then she spots a pair of headphones on the fax machine, or the copier, and she goes to grab them, and then the copier goes off. And this is a really cool jump scare too, where like she's able to grab them and get back into hiding before the Cuckoo comes like right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, because the copier goes off, and then she's able to put headphones on and play the music, so that way she can't get infected.
Yeah, so she can't hear the loop, and she doesn't have to like keep covering her shit up.
Yeah.
And then while that's happening,
Koenig and Henry get into a gunfight.
No, Henry shows up into the room.
Oh, yeah,
originally,
that's right.
And he sees, because like at the same time he walks in the room, he turns the lights on,
and then you see that Gretchen and the Cuckoo lock eyes.
They lock eyes.
Yeah.
And they like stand up.
And then there's a really cool slow motion where he grabs the fucking bookshelf and
just topples
it over like dominoes, and they all get stuck.
Yeah, and I think Gretchen hits the floor beforehand.
And then Alma gets up and runs into another room, or starts to run away, and he follows after her. And then Alma runs to Koenig. Because he's like the only one that has not been mean to her yet.
Right.
So she goes running up to him, and Henry's following like right behind her, and then they start the gunfight.
Right.
And then Alma runs into another room.
And then they come back to...
And then they like kind of start their little gunfight in that room that she's in, and then they cut back to Gretchen underneath the bookcase.
Yeah, like struggling because she's like pinned down basically. Even though she got down, she's pinned.
She only got one arm.
She only got one arm, and the headphones broke, so she can't do it. She's got to cover her shit. And you can see the Cuckoo get up, and this is where it's like it screeches for like a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, not stopping. And it's, like, walking kind of menacingly over the bookshelves to get to Alma, or to get to Gretchen.
Finds where Gretchen is.
And then Gretchen was reaching for the knife. I thought she was going to try and stab her ears, so that I thought that's where they were going with that. I was like,
really?
Is she going to fucking stab her? Like, is she going to, like, be like her and go deaf and stab her ears? Because since she knows sign language, I was like, is she going to stab her ears out so she doesn't get infected? But then that didn't happen. She was just covering her shit, and then she grabbed the knife, and then when the Cuckoo...
like, uncovers the books from her.
She fucking stabs her right in the fucking throat.
Right in the fucking throat. And it's also, like, always, like, this weird scene. Every time you hear the banshee screech, you see, like, a throat moving.
Yeah.
And it does that throughout the movie,
it's like the larynx, I think. It's like vibrating.
Because, like, at first I had no idea what the fuck it was.
Right.
At first I thought it was, like, the skin above the heart at first.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it.
But then it makes sense because, like, whenever she's doing that, she stabs it and then it shows it again and it stops.
Yep.
Also,
the blood trickles down as it stops.
Alma's ears, they'd zoom in on her ears wiggling.
Yeah, especially when she has the seizures, too.
Yeah, they would do that.
That's important at the end of the movie.
Because it would, like, because that's, like, whenever it's close.
Yeah.
Like, whenever the Cuckoo's close.
But, so she does that, and then she's able to get up, and then the Cuckoo follows her for a second. But then it falls dead.
It's like barely whimpering, kind of, and then it dies.
And then she comes back up to it when it dies. She rips off the wig, and then that's when you find out it's the stepmom.
The real mom.
I thought it was her stepmom.
No, it's not her stepmom.
No, it's not. It's not stepmom because stepmom had black hair.
Well, the hair was gone because I thought she got infected.
Yeah, but the hair that was still there was kind of blondish too.
I don't know who it was. I just assumed that.
I assumed the mom got. I assume that's what happened to the stepmom, and she got infected, and then they cuckooed her.
But how did they cuckoo her that fast?
I don't know, but I just figured that's what it was.
I don't think they cuckoo anyone. I think the mom was impregnated with a cuckoo's baby, so there was already that cuckoo. You know what I'm saying?
But who was it then?
I think it was like.
I thought it was Gretchen's real mom.
No, I don't think it was Gretchen's real mom either. I think it was just like a cuckoo. Like it was just like the lady that's been fucking doing this whole time.
I just assumed it was the stepmom because I thought maybe that's why because she was getting infected.
But yeah,
that's the whole cycle.
But it wasn't the same lady at the beginning of the film. How would it have
But
been
whenever you get
stepmom?
infected, that doesn't make you a cuckoo. You just get infected to have the baby. That's why they're making such a big deal about Alma being there. You know what I'm saying? Like she puts the baby in the mama, and the mama has the baby cuckoo, but there was still a cuckoo that impregnated the mama to begin with.
Either way, it's all confusing. I don't know who this
The,
was.
the movie loses you in some parts.
Yeah,
let's just say
I don't know who that's supposed to be though.
I think it was just like that was just the cuckoo, like the one that was chasing her the whole time.
I honestly thought it was supposed to be Gretchen's mom because like the way she looks at it once they take the wig off.
I just feel like it was supposed to be her mom. Or even her stepmom, they would have like focused more on it. Because from what I remember, she pulls the wig off, and it's like got like the short, stringy black hair, and that's like all you see, and like a bunch of bald spots, like she's going bald and shit, and that's why they got the wig on her. But anyway, so then she goes and finds where Alma is, because she hears the gunshots, like right after that. So she goes to where the guys are shooting at each other, and she has the knife, and Koenig shoots at her a couple times, and then she's able to like run across the room, because he's got to reload or something, and she runs across the room, and Henry follows her, and then Koenig follows her, and they're like right outside the room where Alma's at, and she runs in there to go to Alma while they're still pinned down.
Yeah, she's
at each
reloading.
other.
Yeah.
And then her and Alma, because Alma doesn't trust her from where she was trying to put the knife on her.
Right.
She starts signing to Alma.
Like, I would never hurt you.
I would never hurt you.
And then that's when she asks about the mom.
Oh, she tells Alma that her mom
got the
called
message.
her.
Yeah,
she
she
got the
lied, so
message.
she got the
And
message.
then that's when she signs back. Is she coming to visit?
And she's like, no. She's like, I didn't tell you she's dead.
She doesn't tell her she's dead. She just says she can't.
Oh, it's like she's not
So
gonna
she
come visit.
can't, but she says thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And then she's like, I would never hurt you.
And then Alma comes up to her and they hug, which that was a very sweet scene.
It was.
They hug and then pans back to Henry and Koenig shooting at each other again. And then like you hear Gretchen like yell to Henry like, Henry, you said that you would protect me, right?
Is that still? He's like, yeah, it still stands. And she's like, well, did you tell your wife you'd protect her?
And he starts fucking maniacal laughing again because bro's crazy.
He's like, yeah, I did. He's like, all right, well, I'm trusting you. We're coming out. And he's got her on like this. She's got her on like this cart.
Yeah.
And she's wheeling out and like.
And I love this scene.
Yeah.
He has the gun pointed at her, and the
they both have the gun pointed at like at her. And she's like, stop it. She's gonna. Henry's like, she's one of them. Like you can't.
Well, because Koenig is trying.
I don't think it is.
Koenig is trying to kill
Gretchen,
and
but he's
Henry is
but the
trying
way,
to kill Alma. But the way they have it, and the way they're holding each other, moving on this cart,
like
you can't really get a shot on either one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool scene, and that was why she asked Henry if like he would protect her at all costs or whatever, because he's not going to shoot her.
Because like that's perfect to like place them that way.
Yep.
And at first I thought it was gonna be like an accidental, like they're gonna be like, oh, that's it, fuck it, we're just both gonna pull the trigger. Then she ducks.
And then also,
but then it's kind of what happens, but kind of not really.
Because I was also thinking, well, like why wouldn't one of them just stay back a little bit and shoot the one they wanted to shoot? But then at the same time, well, there's also another gunman on the other side that also wants to kill me.
Yeah.
So they're kind of all using each other as cover.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
And then at the end, like whenever they get to where they can't walk anymore.
Yeah, and they're like, that's it, we're gonna like they're basically just about to shoot.
Yeah.
And then Alma covers her ears, covers Gretchen's ears, and she starts to do the screech, and you can tell they're caught in the loop.
Yeah.
And then Gretchen picks up Alma while she's still covering her ears and walks her out of the room.
And then
when they get out, the loop stops, and then they both shoot each other.
They shoot each other.
And then they walk towards the exit.
And then she pushes the door and doesn't go.
And she just like walks back in for a second, and then Alma just pushes the other door.
Yeah, Alma pushes the other. That was a nice, like the few comedic times they do have are good.
Agreed.
Like,
and it shows a good dynamic with those two as well.
Yeah, and then
then she spots Trixie
in the parking lot, and
then we cut to Trixie driving away, smoking a cigarette again like earlier, and then Gretchen's in the back
with
Alma sleeping on her lap, and then Alma's ears start to twitch, and then the movie ends. And like I figured that was symbolic of like, because now they trust each other. I figured she was imprinted onto Gretchen now, which I thought was pretty. I thought was pretty cool because her ears start to wiggle because she's because like it's when the cuckoo's close. So I think now that she's imprinted with her, and maybe because she was infected, it's like they're like the baby and the mama now.
Maybe, yeah.
Because like because her ears started wiggling right at the end.
But that's the movie. I don't really know. I think that's a good idea. I just thought that it was like maybe there's another Cuckoo, or maybe there's more Cuckoos because there is.
Because they definitely could be like, oh, maybe they're still being followed.
Yeah.
Which could definitely still be a thing too.
But I like the idea of her being imprinted more. I really do. But
because she was thrown up earlier too, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
So maybe now she's the new mama.
all right, so
That movie's been juiced.
that movie's been juiced. That's Cuckoo.
It was pretty cuckoo.
So I guess Kyle, you go first. What would you rate it?
I'd probably give it like a 7. I like the atmosphere. I like the vibe of it. It lost me kind of in the middle, but it kind of won me back at the end.
Yeah, the ending was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Hell yeah.
Like, because I think it was pretty good. There was just a lot of things. Like, it lost me a lot. I think they could have done a better job explaining things, but also at the same
Agreed
time.
too, yeah.
And I know that, like, a movie doesn't have to fucking just hand feed you the information.
Right.
But at the same time,
It could have done it in a better way.
it could have done it in a better way. But that's where I stand, about a 6.
Not bad.
I was gonna go middle of the road and just hit 5.
You gonna say a 5? Yeah.
Because like at some parts it started to lose me to the point where I was getting a little like drowsy at some point.
Yeah.
There was 1 or 2 times where I was also thinking, like, damn, when is this movie gonna end?
Yeah.
Which I hate whenever I start to feel like that.
Especially when it's not,
Yeah.
it's not even that long of a movie, really. It's like maybe an hour 40.
Yeah, it was like
I
hour
don't know.
43, I believe.
Yeah, like it wasn't that long.
It felt
But
longer.
it kind of feels like it towards
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt longer than what it was.
Because your brain's having to try and figure it out to like go into
Yeah.
overdrive. So you're like you're doing too much work for not enough payoff, kind of.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I was like, I wanted to give it the extra half, but I just couldn't justify a 5.5.
That's fair.
So I just got to just go with the 5. Because it definitely did lose. It lost me a lot more than it kept me.
Yeah,
But-
that's fair.
And the chances of me rewatching it weren't very high.
Nah, me neither.
So
I may rewatch it like later on just to kind of maybe. Now it's one of those things where like when you rewatch it might help a little bit.
I think I agree with you, because I was about to say that also. Like, I might rewatch it one more time
Yeah.
just to try to catch more shit to see if I can make it make more sense.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
then I think because right now that you guys were a little lower on it, I was like maybe 7 is too high, but maybe on a rewatch I can justify it.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I'll keep it at first thought. I'll keep it at 7 for now,
Okay.
and then it'll either go down or up. I don't think it's gonna go up, but it'll either go down or stay the same on a rewatch. We'll see.
I can
But I
see
probably
mine
won't
going
rewatch it
up.
until it's on streaming or something.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going to go watch it in the theater again.
No,
not gonna lie, I probably won't rewatch it. It's probably just gonna
that's
stay
fair.
at a 5.
I know I wouldn't blame you, honestly.
I just want to tell the truth.
Hey, I respect
Hey,
it.
man, you deserve to tell the truth.
Respect.
I'm a truthful man. A good 95% of the time.
I think it's been another
Yeah.
movie juice.
Another movie juiced. We'll be back next week. Make sure to hit our social medias, which is in the description below. We got a website coming up soon. It's in the coming soon phase at moviejuicepod.com. You can email us if you want us to review a movie that you like and we haven't done yet. Email us at moviejuicepod@gmail.com, or you can also comment on the videos below. We'll be back next week with another movie. As always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
I've been James, and for one last time, this has been The Juice.